And simply because Hillary Clinton lost doesn't mean it's Jill Stein's fault. And simply because Jill Stein campaigned in swing states, like all candidates do, doesn't mean she was intentionally trying to collude with Russia and Donald Trump to get Donald Trump elected. I'm sorry. The Senate Intelligence Committee's Russia investigation is now targeting Jill Stein, because apparently they're looking for Russian collusion. So let me just start by saying, okay, for me, it feels like the Russia investigation has officially jumped the shark. All right, you know what jump the shark means? It's a reference like, I think it's Happy Days, where like Fonzie jumped over a shark. It basically means this is too crazy, okay? If Jill Stein, if they're looking for collusion from Jill Stein's, the Green Party, and Russia and Trump, they are essentially implying that Jill Stein, the left-leaning, very critical of Israel, was secretly supporting Donald Trump, who is very pro-Israel. I really don't see that. I mean, Jill Stein's an intersectional feminist. Okay, let's just get into the news and talk about what's going on, and then we'll get into the crazy. But according to BuzzFeed News, the Senate's Russia investigation is now looking into Jill Stein. The Senate Intelligence Committee has asked Green Party candidates Jill Stein's campaign to turn over documents. Stein is expected to release them publicly as well, according to a former campaign staffer. When asked Monday what the committee was looking for from the Stein campaign, North Carolina Senator Richard Burr, the committee's chairman, responded, "Collusion with the Russians." Burr said that the committee is just starting its work investigating two campaigns, but did not elaborate. So there's a lot of reasons why people suspect that Jill Stein may have been secretly colluding with the Russians. One of these reasons is a photograph that's been shared pretty far and wide. You've got Michael Flynn sitting at a table with Vladimir Putin and Jill Stein, among many other people like Dmitry Peskov, Putin's spokesman, Sergei Ivanov, Putin's then chief of staff. So you've got a lot of Russian officials sitting at a table, and sure enough, there's Jill Stein. Now, according to Mother Jones, Flynn's $45,000 payment from RT for that appearance and his alleged failure to disclose it are among several issues that landed him in hot water. Yet Stein says that RT did not pay or compensate her in any way. Quote, "They did not offer to pay me," unquote. She's adding, "They did offer to pay my way and I said no thank you." And it's also important to keep in mind that RT has recently registered as a foreign agent and are considered far and wide by the intelligence community and many people in the mainstream media as Russian propaganda. I think that's a little strong, but not necessarily off base, right? Keep in mind, RT and Sputnik don't necessarily hire Russian spies or anything to promote the Russian agenda. They hire people in the United States who have anti-government opinions, far left opinions, and prop them up. Essentially, people like Jill Stein. There are many people who work for RT who are very critical of the US government, and they're given a platform. RT also hosted third-party presidential debates. In this article, we can see the Green Party candidates to face off and debate, hosted by RT. And you can see that we've got this live in 360. Green Party candidates face off. We've got Jill Stein right here. And she has frequently appeared on Russia Today, talking about her views, and in a sense, RT has given her a platform to promote her campaign. Now look, simply because Jill Stein is running for president, has appeared on RT, and had dinner with the Russians, doesn't necessarily mean she colluded with them. I think there's still a big stretch there, but it is pretty suspicious. However, it's still a pretty big stretch. But I saw a thread on Reddit talking about the new inquiry into Jill Stein, and I wanted to see what the people on Reddit had to say about it. So here you can see the post on r/politics, BuzzFeed. Senate's Russia investigation is now looking into Jill Stein, a former campaign staffer says. The first comment, spicy. And this shows several tweets where Sean Spicer promoted Jill Stein. People are asking, was he part of her campaign? He's been a Republican forever. We can look at some of the next comments. Her campaign strategy was really odd, to say the least. The Green Party should have been campaigning in major cities and deep blue areas where they can receive the most support, donations, and start building up the district and state level. Instead, Jill Stein focused on swing states, where she would do the most damage to the Clinton campaign. If helping Trump was her primary objective, that strategy makes perfect sense. If she was actually trying to help the Green Party, it's a bit of a head scratcher. Now, according to a Vanity Fair article, they bring up Stein received enough votes to tip the scales for Trump in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And this has long been a source of frustration among Democrats, and for some, an object of suspicion. And this is also echoed in another comment on Reddit. Here is why Jill Stein matters in this election. And it goes on to talk about how Jill Stein's votes were slightly higher than the margin of Hillary Clinton's loss. For instance, in Pennsylvania, Hillary Clinton's margin was 44,292, and Jill Stein won 49,941. Trump's margin in Wisconsin, 0.77, Pennsylvania, 0.27, Michigan, 0.23, where Jill Stein won more, but just slightly. Essentially what they're saying is that if Jill Stein didn't campaign in swing states, and if Jill Stein didn't get any votes, Hillary Clinton would have won. Okay, so look, they're investigating Jill Stein. They think that, I guess, people believe that she was secretly aiding the Trump campaign and that she's been I don't know, would that make Jill Stein a sleeper agent or something? Because she's been far left forever. Jeremy Scahill said, regardless of what people think of Jill Stein or the Green Party, this Senate investigation sets a dangerous precedent, as does the lionization of FBI, Comey, and Mueller. Very short-sighted, it will all come back around. And Glenn Greenwald added, click on Jill Stein, that's trending, and you'll see countless leading Dems with large platforms strongly implying, if not outright stating, she's a Kremlin agent, all because of a congressional inquiry. They couldn't better replicate McCarthyism if they tried. So, okay, let's address some of these outright conspiracy theories. Look, whether or not Trump colluded the Russians, it's certainly a conspiracy theory, and there are many journalists who believe it to be true. I consider myself to be more on the fence. Of course, we need to consider the fact that Russia and many other governments are interfering in our culture, our society, and our elections. We do the same thing. It's called espionage. It's relatively normal. It sucks. We want to defend ourselves against it, but it happens. So did Russia interfere with our election? Yeah, I think it's probably likely. But did Donald Trump collude with Russia to win the election? That's a whole other ballgame, and we're still waiting to see some evidence on this. But now that they've reached out into Jill Stein is potentially colluding with the Russians, all right, you lost me. You jumped the shark. Jill Stein has been an intersectional feminist on the far left forever. The idea that she somehow supports Donald Trump and would collude with Russia to get him elected just seems nonsensical. It's outright, it's just crazy. You know what? I'll say it. Sure, there's always a possibility. Like, I don't know what these people are doing behind closed doors, but man, you are really, really reaching if you want me to believe that Jill Stein, hippie, lefty Jill Stein, secretly supported Donald Trump. As for the comment on Reddit and the question about why she would campaign in swing states, why do any presidential candidates campaign in swing states? Jill Stein wanted to win swing states, so she campaigned in them. I don't think that's surprising at all. And I think it's often an excuse. People say the third-party candidates shouldn't run because it means the Republicans are going to win. No, this is not a, what are we, a duopoly? Is the United States just going to be the two parties forever? No, third parties certainly have a right to run. And simply because Hillary Clinton lost doesn't mean it's Jill Stein's fault. And simply because Jill Stein campaigned in swing states, like all candidates do, doesn't mean she was intentionally trying to collude with Russia and Donald Trump to get Donald Trump elected. I'm sorry. And if we really want to go there, if we really want to start saying, you know what, Jill Stein, this is really suspicious, sure, then let's take a look at Democracy Now! Because Jill Stein is a regular guest on Democracy Now! With dozens of appearances. In fact, Democracy Now! Ran an article expanding the debate. Jill Stein, quote, debates Clinton and Trump in Democracy Now! Special Part 1. Democracy Now! Has hosted Jill Stein and her ideas on more than one occasion. So, all right, let's just make this conspiracy theory as crazy as possible. Democracy Now! Secretly propping up Jill Stein to the left to make her a legitimate candidate so that she could destabilize Hillary Clinton because she was actually working with the Russians. Democracy Now! Is involved. RT, Sputnik, Jill Stein, Vladimir Putin, all the way to the top. Jill Stein was sitting at the table with Vladimir Putin where he flat out laid out his plan, and then she said, I agree, I want to get Donald Trump elected. Does that sound reasonable? No. It's a bit of a straw man, but you get where I'm going with this. The whole thing just seems crazy. Look, Jill Stein is a far lefty. She's been a far lefty forever. And I think this is an instance where Jill Stein campaigned like any other presidential candidate would campaign. She took opportunities for a platform when available. So that's the RT third-party debates. That's Democracy Now! Hosting a special. And she attempted to expand her audience. Unfortunately, Hillary Clinton lost. We can't say that the people who voted for Jill Stein would have voted for Hillary Clinton. In which case, I'm really surprised that there's an investigation into Jill Stein. It just seems really strange to me. But I'm certainly not surprised we're seeing more extremism, more anti-Russia McCarthyism. This is just getting out of hand. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe Jill Stein really did this, but I just really, really think that's unlikely. I'll put it this way. That's not a lottery ticket I would buy, right? If you want to convince me that Jill Stein did this, I would not ever bet any money that this was true. Donald Trump in Russia, I'd put some money down on that. That seems possible. I haven't seen any evidence. I've seen a lot of people going in circles over the past, year or so. The story about Trump and Russia, it has some plausibility, but with Jill Stein, I'm sorry. This is too crazy. But let me know what you think in the comments below. The Russia investigation has sent an inquiry to Jill Stein. Did Jill Stein cooperate with Vladimir Putin all the way at the top? No, let me slow down. Let's be real about this. Did Jill Stein collude with Russia in any way to support Donald Trump's presidency, his candidacy? What do you think? Comment below, we'll keep the conversation going. If you want to follow me for breaking news, I am on Twitter at Timcast. And if you want to support my work, go to timcast.com/donate. Give whatever you'd like or give nothing at all. My videos are always free and available every day at 4 p.m. Thank you all so much for watching. And let's keep our eyes on this absolutely crazy conspiracy theory as it continues to grow. And I'll see you all tomorrow.